every time I went south, I assumed I was going to die because I knew how vicious it was, but I was willing to die with them. The only reason I'm alive, my 2-week-old son died when I was with Medgar Evers, and me and Medgar knew they was going to kill us that night. And I said, it's a pleasure to die with you, man. And then we get the call that my son had died. I said, well, I'm not leaving the rally till it's over. Instead of me going back to his house, because you couldn't stay in hotels, where they was waiting, I went to Memphis and got on the plane.
That's Dick Gregory, remembering the assassination of Medgar Evers. A trailblazing comedian and dedicated humanitarian and civil rights activist, he refused to appear on The Tonight Show with Jack Paar until Paar agreed to invite him to sit down and talk after his stand-up routine was over. On that night, Gregory became the first black comic to do so. When he heard that surplus food had been cut off to the impoverished in the Mississippi Delta in 1963, he chartered a plane and sent 14,000 pounds of food. He marched with those demanding the right to vote, only to be confronted by police with dogs. On one occasion, when an officer dragged the comedian away, Gregory said, "Thanks a million. Up north, people don't escort me across the street." In this first-person flashback, with reporter Cordell Whitlock, filmed a few years before he passed away from heart failure in 2017, he shares his reflections on the legacy of his work and the work of thousands of others in the civil rights movement.
I'm insulted when people say, did you ever think when the movement you see a Negro president or African? Look. We did not go out there with our life to get a black person in the White House. We went out there to see to it that all blacks had a right to vote. That's what we were there for. Back then, physically, you was worried about getting hurt. You know, blacks was worried about getting lynched. It could happen, but we would be shocked. You know, police brutality. Hey man, me and my brother went out the street and police beat me half to death. You know the folks say, thank God he didn't hit both y'all, okay? That day is over. You got 5 major cities in America, about every 3.5 years, they pay out $2 billion settling police brutality cases out of court. They never had to do that before. It's the whole physical demeanor. And with the TV, when someone said, do you realize I was in London at the top of my game, man, pocket full of money, and I see 2 black Ethiopian jet pilots. And I call my wife crying, so maybe change my flight. I go to London tomorrow. I'm not moving until these pilots. 2 Negro pilots, man, driving a commercial. I had never seen that. And I said, God, if my children could just see. You know, I come through a time when you couldn't drive a train. Wife, you can't drive. Well, since I need, all I gotta do is follow the damn tracks. You got to be smart to drive a damn train. Now, a bus, I'm not saying that one, brother, because I would go to the party, but I can't get up. And so it's this whole piece of now. There is no difference. There are not words or instruments can measure. Give you an example. 45 years ago, when I'm running to Mississippi for my life, and I tell my wife, I say, kiss your children, because the chances of us seeing it is 0. And King was saying love, no hate. I went along with it.
You weren't thrilled with the nonviolent?
No. I went along with it. You know, had me a gun at home. You know, no. Because someone told me sitting across the table from you 45 years later, I could report you that a black man is head of the Mississippi State Troopers. That a black woman is head of social services. Think about where that's unreal. When you stop and think about all the black elected officials, because of that movement, that I didn't see it. They just had that spirit and felt and willing to die. I was willing to die. I trusted them enough and watched what they was doing enough that if I had to die, I didn't mind it. But, you know, the Civil Rights Bill, one day somebody's going to have to go look at that real close, because they didn't put for Negroes only. See? So it means when you go down the street now and see a white woman that's a cop or president of Harvard, we got her that. When I first started riding planes, a black man couldn't be a pilot. A black woman couldn't be a stewardess. A white woman couldn't be a pilot. a white woman couldn't be a mechanic. The only thing a white woman could do on a commercial airline, she could be a stewardess, but she had to look like something off the center page of Playboy magazine. Because of the civil rights legislation that didn't say for Negroes only, anytime you get on a plane today and see an old, ugly, short, fat white steward, we got her that job. It came through that civil rights movement. Not through her brother, not through her daddy, not through the Marines. We did.